Thank you for joining us here today for our International Credential Recognition Workshop with Will Access and our Talent Attraction Promotion team. I'm Kelly Bowers with our CK Jobs team, and I'm here with Teresa. Teresa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Teresa Fish, and I'm the Talent Attraction Coordinator for the Municipality of Chatham-Kent, and I help market and welcome newcomers to our community.
Thank you. And Jesse, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse Morris. I am the team leader and employment counselor for Will Access in London, Ontario, and I'll be speaking about international credential recognition.
Thank you, Jesse. Just so everybody is aware, this session will be recorded and we will send it out in the coming days. So we'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Land acknowledgements are a way to recognize the traditional First Nations, Métis, and/or Inuit territories of a place. They're a necessary first step toward honoring the original occupants of what we know as Canada. They're inspired by the 94 recommended calls to action contained in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada. We recognize that it's important to not only read the land acknowledgement, but to take a moment to reflect on its importance as well. And so we'd like to just take a moment to reflect at this time. Thank you for reflecting. Whether individuals are just starting out or looking for new employment opportunities, facing challenges finding work, we at CK Jobs are happy to help in any way we can and support along all steps of the employment process. We have skills development workshops where participants can develop necessary skills to obtain and retain employment. These workshops are taught with sector-specific focuses such as ECE, customer service, or food service. Each program is delivered with a variety of techniques, including traditional classroom learning, paired activities, and self-reflection exercises. Through these teachings, participants can gain fundamental job readiness skills, career development and exploration skills, personal management skills, and so much more. Each participant is also connected to a job developer from our CK Jobs team that will help them attend interviews and also help them obtain a placement once the workshops are completed. Some clients will require what's called a paid placement, just kind of as a way to get their foot in the door. Our job developers work with job seekers to really determine what their career goals are. And then when they're ready, they'll help connect them to different opportunities within the Chatham-Kent area or outside areas. Our program is funded to cover training or additional costs that are related with the job placement. And placements really are, again, meeting clients where they're at. They can be part-time or full-time. And we really want to make sure that we set up our clients for success with these placements and with employment so that they can stay in employment long-term. We also have some wellness programs where we can refer our participants to programs where they can obtain confidential counseling services, mental health supports, and other resources to assist when they're addressing personal or work challenges. Starting a job can be a bit scary and overwhelming, and those supports are free to our participants to use at the appropriate time. We are currently in our workforce week, and we are very excited. On our next slide, we have a QR code. You're more than welcome to scan this, and you can see all the different events that have been running and are running throughout this week up until our finale on March 5th. Just to highlight a few, on March 3rd, if you are passionate about making a difference in the lives of young children, you can learn more about how 80 to 85% of the brain is developed within the first 3 years of life. You can learn how early childhood educators play a pivotal role in shaping the future of our community. We have, like I mentioned, on March 5th is our big job fair. You don't want to miss out on this one. There are many employers you can meet with, educators, trainers, all about learning about part-time or full-time jobs. We have volunteer positions, summer positions, student jobs, and I think the list is almost endless at this point. We are really excited for that. And again, you can scan that QR code and you're more than welcome to register on Eventbrite for any of those upcoming events. If you're looking to get in contact with our CK Jobs program and talk to any of the staff that are here, or connect with our job developers to help you find employment and to retain your employment as well, you can contact us by phone 519-351-8573. You can email us at ckjobs@chatham-kent.ca, or visit our website at ckjobs.ca. And on our website, we have a registration spot where you're more than welcome to fill out a form. And then our staff will directly connect with you to get you set up with our program. So you've heard a little bit about our CK Jobs program. You've heard a little bit about our workforce event. And now I'm going to turn it over to Teresa, who's going to talk a little bit more about our community attraction and our promotion department.
Thank you, Kelly, and there was great information. And we, on our community attraction promotion, we support population growth in Chatham-Kent. So we market our community externally, and we do this by researching workforce priority and needs, supporting talent attraction, and building a vibrant and welcoming Chatham-Kent. So we ensure that Chatham-Kent is ready to welcome newcomers and immigrants to our community. Underneath our portfolio, we have quite a few different initiatives. The Living CK initiative, which is that marketing and welcoming bit, the Back to Chatham-Kent Workforce Planning Board, our local Chatham-Kent local immigration partnership, which creates that welcoming community to ensure that we're ready and able to have newcomers and immigrants that move to Chatham-Kent, plant their roots, and develop and choose to call Chatham-Kent home and find that sense of belonging. And then we also have our Chatham-Kent Youth to the Power of Young People. And that is to kind of tap into what young people want and need to make sure our community is vibrant. So that bid in the Living CK, this is our website, and there's a QR code there too for you to scan to go learn about why you should choose Chatham-Kent. If this not your home at the moment, and why you should call it your home. There's lots of community information to make sure you develop that sense of belonging. So it's basically a digital overview of our community. We do have welcome packages and information on things to do in Chatham-Kent. So if you're new to our community, definitely in the next slide will show us what we're, how to get in contact with us, but you can learn about things to do in our community, maps and information, and we also can give community orientations. So whether it's face-to-face or digital or just over coffee, just to make sure that you know that Chatham-Kent welcomes you and that you're able to develop those roots and that sense of belonging in our community. And here's just how to get in contact with us. You can send us an email at livingck@chatham-kent.ca. If you're looking for more labor market information, there is our workforce planning board information as well. And then we do have a series of newsletters. So make sure you get connected and tapped into all the great things that are happening in our community. So if you're new to Chatham-Kent, welcome. And if you're looking to choose Chatham-Kent, we definitely welcome you to take a look at what our community offers you. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Teresa. And now for the second main attraction is we're going to turn it over to Jesse to continue his talk about navigating international credential recognition.
Thank you very much. So thank you all for taking the time to join us for this presentation on international credential recognition and some of the supports that are available to internationally trained professionals in Southwestern Ontario. So as I mentioned, my name is Jesse Morris. I'm an employment counselor and team leader for licensure and certification at Will Employment Solutions in London, Ontario. I started my career here at Will more than 20 years ago as an employment counselor and have focused on supporting clients with international credential recognition for almost 18 years now. So I'm going to just very briefly introduce Will Employment Solutions, and then I'll talk about international credential recognition in terms of regulated professions, skilled trades, equivalency reports that could be helpful for regulated and non-regulated professions. Then I'm going to talk about the services that we offer at Will Access that are available to you in the Chatham-Kent area. And if you have questions, like Katie said, you can put them in the chat and we'll try to address them at the end. So Will Employment Solutions started almost 40 years ago. We offer specialized services to meet the unique needs of newcomers, immigrants, and employers. So we have three teams. There's Will Work, which is a suite of services that welcomes and prepares job seekers to find meaningful employment. Will Access, that helps immigrants in regulated professions to continue their careers in Canada. And Will Employ, which is our connection to employers, making that connection with job seekers. But today's focus is Will Access. So Will Access used to be called the Access Center for Regulated Employment. We started in 2007, and the main focus is or has been to support internationally trained professionals to pursue a license in a regulated profession in Ontario. So in Ontario, we have regulated non-health and regulated health professions that are governed by laws. Every element of each of these registration processes is assessed by the Office of the Fairness Commissioner, which also opened in 2007 to ensure that these processes are in line with the legislation. So at that time, in 2007, I was an employment counselor at Will. We were serving many internationally trained professionals with experience in regulated professions, and we did our best to introduce these licensing processes. But really, we identified a need for a dedicated service. So based on our clients' needs, we started the Access Center for Regulated Employment, now called Will Access, to focus on supporting clients in regulated professions and with credential evaluations. Over these years, we've seen some improvements, thankfully, in the licensing processes. So for example, Professional Engineers Ontario in 2023, they removed the Canadian experience requirement. For physicians, there's a new practice ready assessment in Ontario from 2023. And we know that this year, 2025, there are some upcoming changes with the College of Nurses of Ontario and the Canadian Society for Medical Laboratory Science. We've also seen some improvements in more general credential evaluations, such as the option to submit electronic documents rather than the only option being a sealed transcript sent from the country of education. But there's still a need to help to take this information, synthesize it, and formulate a plan. So that's what Will Access does. So a client of Will Access could be receiving job search support from us or from CK Jobs or from anywhere in Ontario. And you can still access Will Access supports while remaining with your organization for employment supports. So I'm going to talk now about, what is international credential recognition, how it can help you, what's the process, and what supports are available to you. So international credential recognition is the process of verifying that the training, education, and/or experience obtained in another country meet the federal, provincial, or territorial standards. So immigrants and newcomers bring a great deal of education, skill, experience to Canada. It's important for them, and it's important for Canada to have their international credentials recognized. Why is it important? If your profession's regulated, you need to provide evidence of your credentials in order to pursue a license. Credential recognition can help employers to understand the value of your education and to be able to compare fairly with other applicants. It can also be evidence that your education is authentic. In some cases, a credential evaluation is required to continue post-secondary studies as well. So we'll talk about regulated professions first. So what is a regulated profession? It's a profession that requires a license or registration in order to practice fully. As you can see, Ontario has 13 non-health professions and 26 health professions that are regulated. So who issues a license? Each regulated profession in Ontario has an organization called a regulatory body or regulatory college. The regulatory body sets the standards that all workers need to meet, assesses the qualifications of applicants, registers qualified applicants, disciplines members who break the rules, and protects the public. And this is very important. as a regulatory body will not take a chance on you if it would jeopardize public safety. So you need to provide evidence of education, experience, English proficiency, good character, etc., in order to prove that you are qualified. And each process is different. A licensing process often takes a great deal of time and financial resources to complete. It can take several years in some cases. Each process is different, and it can depend on your education level, your country of education, the amount of experience that you have, and your recency of experience. Some of these provincial regulatory bodies will perform the initial evaluation of your credentials themselves, and some will rely on national organizations or third-party credential evaluators for this step. For example, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, which is the regulatory college for physicians, relies on the Medical Council of Canada as some of the first steps for examinations. Or for pharmacists, there's the Pharmacy Examining Board of Canada. So these are national organizations that do this first step of evaluation and testing. It's very important to have a good understanding first of the requirements and the process before you enter into a licensing process. If you decide to start a process, it's important to have a financial plan. So that could be savings, a micro loan, employment, and a career plan that will help you to lead you to your goal. In some cases, even initiating a licensing process can be beneficial to your job search. So for example, the CPA, or Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, that's a very valuable designation that takes significant time and resources to achieve. But even at the beginning, if you register as a CPA student and you advertise this on your resume, that could help you to find employment, which could then help you to achieve your goal of becoming a CPA. There's a few other examples as well, like CMLTO, the College of Medical Lab Technologists of Ontario. If you start that process, that might make you more employable to work as a medical lab assistant. It shows your dedication to the process and that you are intending to become a technologist in the future. So for some professions in Ontario, there are bridging programs. So bridging programs are designed to literally to bridge your international training, education, and experience with what you need to continue to work in your field in Ontario. So right now, there are about 45 bridge training programs in Ontario. You can find a link on this slide, which I believe will be shared with you later. We're about to see new bridge training programs start, hopefully in April. There was a call for proposals. So right now, for example, our organization has a bridge program in supply chain management, which will be ending very soon. But we were hoping that we'll hear good news about future bridge training programs as well. Some of these are optional, and it can really help you or boost you and your process. I like to show this slide. This is from the Fairness Commissioner website. And here we see the top 10 professions in Ontario with the largest number of internationally trained members. And as you can see, they're significant. So this information, it can be encouraging because, you know, there's a lot of barriers in the way. Sometimes you feel, I can't do it. It's too expensive. It takes too long. You know, somebody else couldn't do it, so I can't do it. You can do it. You know, you have to make up your own mind, make up your own plan. And as you can see, lots of people that are internationally trained are succeeding. I find it positive anyway. There's another group of professions called skilled trades. So a skilled trade is a career path that requires hands-on work and specialty knowledge. Skilled trades workers build and maintain infrastructure like our homes, schools, hospitals, roads, farms, and parks. They keep industries running and perform many services we rely on every day, like hairstyling, food preparation, or social services. So in Ontario, the regulatory body for skilled trades is called Skilled Trades Ontario. There are over 140 skilled trades in Ontario in sectors such as mechanical, electrical, automotive, manufacturing, building, and service. 23 of these trades are compulsory, which means that you must have a license in order to do this work. And the remaining trades are voluntary. There are a couple of pathways to earn a certificate in a skilled trade. So one way is to do an apprenticeship. So an apprenticeship is where you would learn on the job by a qualified instructor, and you would be paid. You would also attend short periods of academic training. A credential evaluation report is required to start an apprenticeship if your education is from outside of Canada. And most trades will have a final certifying examination. Another way for applicants, aside from an apprenticeship, is to do something called a trade equivalency assessment. And that's for applicants that already have extensive experience from your own home country, and you can provide evidence of that. So if you can provide evidence of this experience that exceeds the requirements of an apprenticeship, it can be a shorter pathway than the apprenticeship. So types of evidence are letters from employers, completed forms and from referees. It could be, if you're self-employed, it could be evidence of your business, that sort of thing. And that's where Will Access can help, is to help you to prepare that application for a trade equivalency assessment. So this is only available for trades that have certifying exams. So I often get the question, do I need to have a license? And here are just a couple of examples. So a physician, absolutely. There are different types of licenses that you can get as a physician, but no matter what, you need to have a license to work as a physician. And that's the same for most, if not all, healthcare professions. Accountant, maybe. So there is the Chartered Professional Accountant designation, but you can do accounting work without being a CPA. It's something that will certainly enhance your career, but not every accountant needs to be a CPA. Engineering is similar. So all engineering work in Ontario must be approved by a PEng, but the work may be done by other engineers that do not have a PEng. So if a company has one PEng and other workers that are doing the engineering work, that PEng will stamp it and is responsible for the work. So that might be a way for you to start your career without having the PEng. And automotive service technician. So this is an example of a compulsory trade. So you must have a license to fully practice as a mechanic or an automotive service technician. So let's take a look at an example of a licensing process, and we'll use engineering as the example. So first you do an assessment or a little survey. Am I ready to apply survey? And it will tell you, it's actually pretty good. It will tell you where they think you will stand if you're eligible to apply. For the academic requirements, you need to apply to WES, or World Education Service, which I'll be speaking about shortly. It's one of the credential evaluators. So this is required by PEO, Professional Engineers Ontario. And then you would complete 4 technical exams. These are mandatory. The experience requirement, so PEO no longer requires Canadian experience, which is great. And they evaluate your experience based on competencies, 34 competencies. So the way you would present that to PEO is you would give examples, specific examples of how you meet each of these competencies, and then you would assign somebody's name, a validator that will say, yes, this person does have these skills and competencies. After that, there would be the NPPE, the National Professional Practice Exam, which is an exam about the law and ethics of engineering. Then you would give your identification, a good character assessment, which is just answering questions, and of course, pay your fees. And that's how you would get your PEng license. This whole process, realistically, would take a couple of years at least to complete. We also help many clients to do these credential evaluation reports. So I just mentioned WES, but there are actually 6 organizations in Canada that can provide these evaluation reports. You may have heard of ICAS or CES at the University of Toronto. Those are the ones that we have in Ontario. So an equivalency report is an evaluation of your international education, and it gives you a report that says what is the Canadian value of this education. So these can be used for immigration, job search, education, and licensing. So there are a few things to consider when you select a credential evaluation organization and the type of report. So let's take a look at what are your options. So these are the 6 organizations that we have in Canada. They all operate under the Alliance of Credential Evaluation Services of Canada. The Alliance ensures compliance with UNESCO conventions related to the recognition of qualifications. Each one of these organizations is similar, but not exactly the same. So some of the similarities, you would submit an application, you'd pay a fee, you'd provide documents to them, and they would provide a report that shows the equivalency of your international education. Some of the differences would be in the process to apply. So how are you applying to them? Do they provide authentication? And what is the processing time? So when you're considering applying for a credential evaluation, it's important to identify what is the purpose? Why are you doing this? So for example, employment. If you don't have a credential evaluation or you haven't advertised it on your resume, there's a chance that the employer won't understand the value of your education. So when the employer looks at a resume with international education, maybe they will accept it at face value and maybe they won't. So as a job seeker, you don't want to take that chance. You want to present yourself in a way that's most easily accepted by the employer. So this will help them to understand that. Some employers absolutely will require it, and they won't call you. So for example, if they have an internal requirement that international education must be evaluated, they're not going to call you to say, get it evaluated. They're just not going to call you. So as a job seeker, you want to preempt that and get it done, advertise it on your resume, help you with your job search. Employers are risk averse, so making a mistake in this hiring process can be very expensive. So make it easy for them. Another purpose would be education. So if you're considering pursuing further education, it's important to check with the faculty and individual program first for the programs in which you're interested to determine their admission requirements. So some programs may need a specific type of report from a specific organization, while other programs don't need any evaluation report. So you can review the web page of the program, and you can contact an academic advisor at that college or university for the details. Licensing, another reason. So I talked about PEO a little bit. CSMLS is another example for medical lab technologists. This is the other example that has said we're going to experience a change this year in November 2025. So CSMLS requires WES, but the new organization in November also is going to be working with WES. And then in some cases, immigration. So some people use a WES or another credential evaluator for immigration purposes. We don't, at Will Access, we don't advise on immigration, but if you need help with the actual application to WES, we can help you with that. So generally, these are the steps that are required by all assessment agencies. So you create your account, you submit an application, and this can usually be done online, and it's generally not too difficult. And this is something that we can help you with. You pay the evaluation fee, and that will range from $150 to $350, depending on what type of report that you're choosing. Provide required documents to the evaluator in the appropriate way. So sometimes an applicant will need to arrange for properly sealed transcripts or physical transcripts placed in an envelope with the university stamp across the flap. That needs to be sent directly to the evaluator. And sometimes it could be done with documents you have with you or electronically. And then you receive your report. So each service is a little bit different in terms of the requirements and the processing times, but overall, these are the steps to take. So these are some of the things to consider. The cost. So not just the cost of the evaluation, but your documents. So you need to look at what are the required documents, or what is the cost of having documents sent directly or to you? What is the cost of translations of these documents? And this can be potentially significant, especially if you have multiple degrees. You also want to be sure that you obtain translators that will support your application for credential evaluation, but will also support any future needs. So as an example, if you decide that you want to do one of these evaluations and you pick a translator, maybe from Ontario, maybe from your home country, that will probably be okay for your credential evaluation. But if your long-term plan is to register with the Medical Council of Canada and submit your documents to them for source verification, they have their own specific requirements for translation. So that's part of the work that we do, is we help you to identify what is your short-term goal, what is your long-term goal, and then try to make a plan to pay for things once. So you pay for the translation that's going to work for both situations. Another example, if you decide you want a credential evaluation now, but you want to get your engineering license in the future, well, you have to choose WES. WES is your choice if you're thinking about PEO, because it's the only organization that Professional Engineers Ontario will accept. So there's no point in choosing another evaluation service if you're planning to apply to PEO in the future. And then what is the anticipated processing time? So how quickly do you need it? So some of these processes are quite fast, and some take a few months to complete. So I wanted to show a couple of examples of credential evaluation reports. I'm using WES as the example because they provide a good sample report on their webpage. So this is an example of a document by document, or a general report from WES. Most of our clients use this type of report to support their job search. So it's very important to add a statement to your resume below your education. So in this example, it's a Bachelor of Engineering from India. It has been authenticated and evaluated by World Education Service to be equivalent in Canada to a bachelor's degree, 4 years. So you take that information, you put it on your resume, and now everyone knows what is the value of your education and that it's been authenticated. This is the example of another type of report called a course by course or comprehensive report. So the comprehensive report includes that first page that I just showed you. In addition, it includes a course by course breakdown of all of the courses on your academic transcript. So this type of report can support a job search, like the first page did, and can also be useful in licensing, like Professional Engineers Ontario, or in some cases in academic applications. Sometimes people want an evaluation report but are not sure if they will need a comprehensive report. In this case, what I recommend is you start with the basic report, and then in the future, next week or next year, if you decide you need the comprehensive, it's usually very easy to upgrade to a comprehensive just by paying a fee. WES Gateway is a great example of, I guess, innovation. So this started out as a pilot project for Syrian refugees who came to Canada with limited documentation of their academics. And it grew into the WES Gateway program that is open to these 7 countries you see on your screen. So if you have education from one of these 7 countries and you've come to Canada and you say, well, I have my degree certificate or I have my transcripts, but I can't get documents sent directly or I can't get the originals, we can apply to WES Gateway. And you have to go through a referral agency. Will Access is one of the referral agencies. And you can apply with whatever document you have with you. And the report that you get would be very similar to a standard WES report. The only difference is it will have a statement that says this report was prepared using credentials provided by the applicant. So it's not authenticated, but in terms of your job search, it probably doesn't matter. And even some regulatory bodies are accepting WES Gateway for those that need to do that, like Professional Engineers Ontario, Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, CSMLS. They all accept WES Gateway. Even if you have education from a country that's not on this list, but you think that it is not possible to get your documents, you have something, contact us. We can advocate for you with WES Gateway, and they're wonderful. They're very supportive, and we might be able to go ahead with a report that way as well. So this is an example of a credential evaluation, and I'm choosing ICAS. So this is how you do it. So the example I'm using is Columbia, because ICAS is country specific, not university specific. So you look at the required documents. So they require original education documents. So your original degree certificate, your original transcripts, plus a photocopy of the translations. You do the online application, you pay by credit card, and then you have to send these original documents, the original transcript, the original degree certificate. And you have a choice. You can send it by courier and have it returned by courier when the report is ready. Or you can schedule an appointment and visit the ICAS office, and you can show them your originals. They will take a scan, and then you can return home with your originals. And then you wait for your report and advertise it on your resume. So a couple of examples of financial resources. So for licensing processes, some applicants may be eligible for low interest loans. You can see I've got Windmill and Achieve. Those are good loan programs that are designed specifically for that purpose. Finding alternative employment in parallel with your licensing process is another way to fund what can be a lengthy process, licensing process. For lower cost credential evaluations like WES or ICAS, it might be possible if you're eligible for supports through Employment Ontario. So if you're registered with an organization, you can ask if you are eligible for any kind of client supports. We can help you to evaluate what are the possible options in this regard. So what Will Access does. So we try to stay up to date on licensing processes that are constantly changing. As I mentioned, I've been doing this for many years, and I've seen it change multiple times. Many professions have changed multiple times. We try to give information that is current and credible to help you to make a decision on your future. We case manage our clients and encourage clients to be active and intentional with your licensing processes. This is not something you want to just try it. You don't want to just say, okay, I'll get my license or I'll apply. You have to make a good plan and be intentional and make sure that you get it done. We follow up with our clients and help to keep you motivated. We work with our colleagues here at Will and with other community organizations as part of the support system in this job search process. So if you're working with CK Jobs, for example, or another organization, you continue working with them, and we just help with this small part. We help with licensing support. We help with equivalency support. You continue the work you're doing with your organization. Overall, we want our internationally trained clients to have the opportunity to continue your careers if you choose to. We help you to understand and navigate the complex licensure processes in Ontario. And ultimately, you might decide not to apply, and that's okay, as long as you're making this decision based on facts. If you decide that you are going to apply for a license, we'll help you to make a step-by-step licensing plan. We often support our clients to troubleshoot how to get documents or sometimes how to request that alternative documents be considered. We help to refer for the proper certifications, translations, attestations, notarizations to make sure that it's like a quality check to help you submit a favorable application to the regulator to minimize mistakes. Starting these processes are just the beginning. So whether it, the regulatory body does the evaluation or a third party does this first evaluation step, then it's going to come back to you to say, what's next? So that could be, examinations, interviews, courses, experience. So we help you to understand what are your options and how do you fulfill those requirements. I had some good news today. I had a client inform me that she got her license as a sonographer with the College of Medical Imaging and Radiation Technologists of Ontario, CMRITO. It's wonderful. That was a relatively short process for her. I have another example of a physician that I worked with for 7 years. He got his license and he's practicing and he's happy, but it took that long. So we'll work with you as you need help. We, in some cases, can help connect you with a peer mentor. So that would be someone that has already done the step that you're about to take, just to connect and find out how did they prepare, how did they succeed. We also have virtual study groups. For right now, we have it for the MCCQE1 for physicians, and I think it's for the PEBC qualifying exam part 1. So you don't need to be in London for that. You can connect with other professionals in your same profession to collaborate and prepare together. So in summary, it's important to have a plan. Think about what is your short-term and your long-term goals. Think about the resources or learn about the resources that will help you to achieve your goals, and then make a step-by-step plan that is realistic and achievable. Access counselors can help support you with this small plan. So this is the end of my presentation. I'm not sure, Katie, if any questions have come up.
Great, thank you so much, Jesse. This was very informative, especially for our clients and our community. We do have a couple questions that have come in either through email or through the chat box. One question would be, once your international degree has been accredited and is equivalent to a Canadian education degree or certification, how should this be displayed on your resume? Is there proper wording? Is it appropriate to attach a copy of your evaluation report to your resume and job applications?
Yeah, it's a great question. What I use as a standard, there's no one way to do it. What I would put is have your education listed on your resume. Then below that, say, for example, with WES, I say authenticated and evaluated by WES or World Education Services, WES, and is equivalent to bachelor's degree, 4 years. So that shows the employer that, one, it's authenticated. You have the education you say you have. And two, that your education, your bachelor is similar to a bachelor in Canada. So that's how I would advertise it. And then in terms of including a copy of the report, you can. I don't suggest that. I think having the statement alone should be enough at the beginning. I encourage clients when they go to an interview to take a portfolio that could be, electronic or paper, but have that ready. If they say, I'd like to see a copy of that report, say, okay, here's a copy, or I could email it to you. Or you can give them online access depending on the type of report that you get.
Great, thank you. I just have a couple more, but feel free to put them in the chat box if you do have anything that comes to mind. I have one for Teresa at Community Attraction and Promotion that has come in via email. I am Filipino and heavily involved in my community currently where I live. What opportunities are there in Chatham-Kent for me to connect with my community, and are you able to connect me with them?
That is a great question, and thank you, Katie. So Chatham-Kent actually is home to over 20 cultural communities, and we do have a Filipino community. So on our website, we have a Get Connected section. So it gets you connected both with cultural groups, but other outside interest groups, say like CK Cycles and Relief CK. So it's a great opportunity to learn about your community and get connected. But if you're looking for like a warm handoff or that warm kind of connection, just send me an email at livingck@chatham-kent.ca, and I'll put you connected with the Filipino community and just facilitate that connection just so that you make sure you have that ability to connect with your community.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I just wanted to do a clarification on the previous question I asked you, Jesse. For regulated professions, except engineering, which needs to go through WES, can you go straight through the regulatory body for the credential evaluation?
Yeah, in some cases you can. So they don't provide what I'm referring to as a credential evaluation. So a credential evaluation is offered by one of those 6 organizations for different purposes, which can include licensing. Some organizations do their own evaluation. Like for example, the College of Nurses of Ontario, we're going to see a change coming in on April 1st, and I don't know the details, and I can't speak on their behalf, but they said they're going to take responsibility for this evaluation, which they used to do in the past as well. But yeah, it's different in every case.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We have one more that has come in. And perhaps Kelly, you can add in addition to this as well. Can you share how CK Jobs can help with the costs related to credentialing for people? And I will put the contact information in the chat for you to register or send an email for more information.
Yeah, Jesse, do you want to touch base on those grants that you had mentioned first?
Sure. Yeah.
And then I can follow up.
Yeah. So the ones that I had mentioned are loans. They're micro loans, and these are good really for licensing processes, not for, or I don't think they would be used mainly for credential evaluations because they would be so inexpensive in comparison. But I think the difference between one of these lenders like Achieve or Windmill is they know what you're talking about. So if you go to them and you say, I need money for the Medical Council of Canada qualifying exam and the NAC-OSCE and a CARMS application, they know what you're talking about. If you go to your own bank, they don't know what you're talking about. So, sometimes people can get a flexible line of credit with your own lending institution. That's fine. I would always just say compare what are the, what's the interest rate, what are the terms of paying it back, and go with whatever the best option is.
Awesome. And I think then I kind of follow up with that with our being involved with an Employment Ontario program and particularly with our CK Jobs program, you're able to get access to some funding that will actually pay directly for those costs. So if you're in a position where you say, you know what, the loan doesn't work because there's interest and I just don't qualify for it, we're often able to support you through the CK Jobs funding side to pay for those costs, and we can do an upfront payment or we can do a reimbursement for you. And the nice thing about our program is it's completely free to join. And again, you can send us an email. And Katie, if you can put that contact information in the chat, you can send us an email or you can give us a call to get connected with us.
Perfect, thank you. We do have another question that has come in. My wife is a neurologist with 10 years of experience and a PhD degree. She's currently working in China. How can she obtain the necessary qualifications to continue working as a doctor in Canada?
Well, that would take about an hour to go through, but so you start with the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario and look at what are the requirements, the registration requirements. Some of the requirements refer you to the Medical Council of Canada for examinations. She would also need some kind of postgraduate training in Canada, which could be a residency or a clinical fellowship. She would need to complete the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada specialty examination and then register with the province. That's oversimplified, of course. You're welcome to email me directly. My email is on the screen, and I could send you some resources that you could share with your wife if that's helpful.
Thank you, Jesse. I would encourage everyone, if they do have more case-by-case questions or inquiries, to reach out to Jesse. I will also include his contact information in the chat, because he can more thoroughly explain the process, or maybe do an investigation on what is happening with applications or transcripts or whatnot, and moving forward for everyone.
Yeah, just add a note too. For a simple email like that, just asking for resources, no problem. If you want to become, a client of Will Access, there is a bit of a registration process, so my colleagues would help you with that. And then they would book an appointment with me or my colleague Jay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jesse. We'll just wait about 1 or 2 more minutes if there's any questions. Again, if you do have more, feel free to email CK Jobs or Jesse personally, and we can help you work through things in any way. Again, this session is recorded, and you will receive the recording as well as all of the links and resources that were presented today in that follow-up email.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.